Um, Timeline? What day is it today? Wednesday, February 24th. I didn't meditate today in the morning. I actually had to be somewhere downtown early. And I'm not used to waking up early. I mean, I guess I am, but I'm used to like taking my time, and not rushing anymore, and wanting to take my time and, you know, just have a little bit of a morning, and I didn't meditate. But on the way to my destination, I was reflecting on the visions that I have had this week. And I haven't been having them every day, right? And so there's a part of me, again, that is just wondering, is it because I haven't figured it out or because it hasn't unfolded like other times? So, you know, that's in the back of my head. But I was even reflecting on the brief interactions that I've had this week. And I've noticed that the pattern has changed, whereas before there were multiple interactions in one day where I was able to pick up on the pattern quickly. And now it's not like that. It's the interactions are spread out, at least this week. They're spread out during the week. And so it's not as apparent. It's like there's multiple patterns at once. And I'm trying to like weed through it, like, okay, what's the lesson, right? What's the lesson? And there could be more than one, but the one that stood out, at least today and yesterday and just more recently, is this idea of effort, perception. It's always perception. I've noticed that. It's always perception, right? You start off with perception. What's your perception of the situation? And then it's effort, right? So if you are... Okay, so here's what happened. I interacted with a couple people who didn't know about the change in my marital status. And so there was like a hesitancy on the other party to ask questions, right? This sense of like, it's up to you, right? But you could tell like they wanted to know. I mean, I'm sure every family has, you know, those few people that are like, you know, lemon chisme, you know, like, what's the scoop? And so she just kept repeating it in a way where I'm like, she wants to know what happened, right? You guys have seen my ugly cries. I'm an open book, right? I have no shame at this point. Like, I'll speak my truth, right? And I'll do my best to honor. And if I don't, and you're one of the people that I reference in any of these videos, and you feel like I, you know, I mean, all of this is based on my perception of events, right? And there's, I mean, life is like a dice, like, you know, 6 sides. There's always going to be more than one side, more than one way to look at a situation. But truly, if you feel like I've offended you, and I'm just saying that because I had a situation today that this other person felt like I offended them. I was really just holding up a mirror, right? I was completely fine with this person being angry with me. I said, okay, be angry with me, but I'm not budging on my boundaries. Like, this is this is what's triggering for me, right? And so I'm choosing not to partake in this interaction in that way, and I'm setting these boundaries. And clearly you have an issue with the fact that I'm setting these boundaries for that reason. So you need to figure out what that means for you, right? And this person was just really offended. So I said, I'm sorry that you feel that I disrespected you. I'm sorry that that's how you feel. But I'm not budging. and so, yeah, they were upset. Perception. That's what it falls under, right? Like how you perceive the situation. And where were they? Oh, so this other person was trying, trying to be polite, but not really. I mean, they were polite. So I finally, I opened that door up and I said, what do you want to know? Ask me. I'll tell you. So, well, what happened, right? Spoke my truth. Perception came in, this person's belief system, right? About marriage, about contracts, really. About religious, these are just really more religious factors, right? These constructs of what it means to be married. And what it means for this type of commitment. That just because I am now divorced, I think I am, I don't know, legally, but I mean, papers are it. There's this, the response that I got was, well, you got married through the church, right? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess. And so this person's like, well, then you're still married. So I was just like, okay, that's your belief. I believe it just depends on, people's beliefs, right? And she kind of went off, and I just kind of, I don't have a lot of interaction with this person. Family member. Haven't seen this person in a long time. So I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, difference of opinion. I'm good, don't worry about me. Because there was this worry, that's where it was. There was this worry that came in, this belief that you need another person to be okay, right? This belief that you need another person, that you just need another person to be fine. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I can take care of me, right? Been doing it a lot. I mean, even within my union, my marriage, it wasn't one of those marriages where we did everything together. We didn't. Like, I did a lot of things on my own, and I would encourage my partner, go do things on your own, like whatever you're interested, go with your friends, whatever, like I'm gonna do what I want to do. If you want to come, great, and if you don't, that's great too. Like we, right? I mean, that's just how we worked, and I encouraged that because I knew that alone time, right, was your own self-discovery, your own interests, your own, where you can be different, that part of yourself by yourself. So I was fortunate that, my union, my marriage, I mean, we were good. We were good, great friends, great conversation, we were good, right? So it never felt like, and I've seen other marriages, right? I mean, most of our friends were married couples, and I would see how other couples interacted, and there were some that just wanted to do everything together. For me, that's a little too much, personally. I love my alone time. I value my alone time. right? I value not having to like ask for permission to do things that I want to do, right? And we never really did that unless it was something that was going to affect the other person. Like if we wanted to make a big purchase, for example, right? Where we had already agreed there was this foundation of the shared, right, finances. And even then, we still had our own, like, pot of gold that we tapped into. But whatever was shared, right, where we knew we would need to tap into that, then we would have a powwow about it, right? It was good in that respect. And so when people started learning about that change of status for me, there was worry, there was fear, right, that came up. You can't be alone. I can't die anymore because, you know, something's gonna happen. I'm like, whoa. it pretty dramatic there, one. Two, I'm fine. But this old construct, right, that you can't do things alone. I'm gonna travel to TJ this weekend by myself, most likely. I'm gonna go by myself. Not worried. Done it before, millions of times. And people are asking me, who's gonna go with you? Oh, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go alone this weekend. What? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go alone. Like, I've done it before. I know my way around. Have my GPS, right? Once I cross that line, I'm a lion at the door, you know, not at the door, behind the wheel. I mean, you have to have a certain level of, I mean, the laws are a little different over there when you're driving. I mean, you gotta get gutsy, right? Like, if not, you're gonna get trampled over. So I shift in my mode once I cross that line, a little more aggressive, right? So it's funny to me to see the worry and the fear that other people exude, right? Perception. This perception of the person that I used to be. I was talking to someone today and I was letting them know, I'm like, you know, financially, I need to start, you know, coming up with a backup plan, or not a backup plan because I know that first plan, but you know, what am I going to do between now and I mentioned dog walking, you mentioned other things. I'm like, all I know is that don't want to do a 9 to 5. I want something flexible. I want something where my input is fun, but my output is going to be greater, right? Where I don't have to invest so much energy into something and not get pennies back. No, I want either balanced or where I just do a little bit and more comes back. And I haven't been worried about it. I've been going with this flow of this is where I'm at, these are projects that are coming up, and that's what I'm gonna do, right? And like I've said before, like God will blow something up in my face if he wants me to do something different. So I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she's like, you're the planner, right? 'Cause she was talking about how different the socialization piece of it, right? Of perception of how safe is it to go outside. She had mentioned having an interest to come with me to TJ, and last minute she changed her mind and is worried because of what people are telling her, right? Don't go, you know, you might get stuck there. And so I was just like, I don't need that kind of energy out of my boat. You know, I'm like, I don't need that kind of energy. Like I'm safe. I know I'm gonna be safe. If you're allowing other people's energy to affect you, then like I'm good by myself. And so I told her that I'm like, if you're gonna allow other people's energy to affect you, then, you know, maybe you should think twice and maybe not come. But we were talking about just, you know, how I'm choosing to do life versus how she's choosing to do life. And this common theme of how much she's, you know, balancing how much energy we're putting out there, right? And socializing. And she's so used to participating in so many social events, but exerting too much energy, where she just can't enjoy being present in a social event because she's always moving. And so I explained to her, I'm like, it's not that you're not social, it's just that your output has always been in a certain manner that now you're recognizing the difference. And she's like, I'm not used to not having a plan. Oh no, that's not what she said. She said, well, yeah, she did say that. And then she said, I prefer spontaneous things. And then she's like, but you like having a plan. I'm like, yeah, I used to. There is always a sense of security with a plan, right? But I said, I don't have a plan right now. I really don't. Aside from the long-term plan, but short-term, I really don't have a concrete plan. And I'm not worried because I know I'm going to be okay. She's like, she's a little surprised. Because that's not me. I think a previous chapter, it's like, you know, my mini UB plan, trying to give myself a plan. But I totally trailed off because that's not what I wanted to focus on. I wanted to focus on this perception of marriage. And it's really not even about marriage. It's not even about marriage. It's about effort and a goal. Effort and a goal. Because this you can relate to job, any other type of commitment, to a project, to a friend, to a family member. It's effort and what goal and outcome you want to see. And marriage is just a title, it's just a label, right? And I'm reminded of that movie, He's Not Into You, where, gosh, I don't even remember, but there's one of the couples where he doesn't believe in marriage, right? And his long-term girlfriend, who he's committed to, is craving to get married. And he's just like, I don't believe in that. And so, you know, they end up like falling out, blah, blah. But there's labels aside, right? It's a commitment, right? And how you even view the word commitment, I mean, we commit to our jobs, right? We have a commitment to put in the effort for a goal. When you have a friendship that's meaningful, you have to put effort into that friendship, right? Time, effort, you know, whatever it's going to take to maintain that friendship. Even you know, there's this belief that blood is thicker than water when it comes to family. And I've heard that a lot in my family. But they're your blood. It's a relationship. It's a connection. It could potentially be a commitment if you choose it to be. Right? I mean, just because people are of your blood doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to choose that person, that relationship over another one. What if that relationship or commitment is toxic, violent, you know, where your heart's not in it anymore, right? There's so much hurt. Are you going to choose that commitment over a friendship, let's say, who's been supportive, who's been there for you thick and thin, right? It's the quality. effort, for the, you know, the input, like what you put into this balanced effort, right? To maintain, sustain a commitment, a relationship, friendship, work, relationship, whatever you want to call it. It's commitment. And I started reflecting on what this last person in my life talked about, you know, in terms of it shouldn't have to be hard, right? And I was reflecting on that. I was reflecting on that today. And I found truth in that again. I found truth in that again, because he's right. When your heart is in it, right? When your heart is in it, the effort won't feel like work. It'll be effortless. This exchange, balanced interaction will be effortless. You're still putting in the work, but it won't feel like work because your heart is in it. Your heart is in it. I was reflecting on work, my last place of employment, and the comments that people would make, and I could tell they were burned out. Their heart wasn't in it anymore. Yet they still came to work, right? And that's when you start feeling that energy, right? That starts kind of draining the morale. And they don't even they don't realize it. They don't realize it. Because when you ask them and you know it, you feel it in their head, they're like, I love my job. No, because your heart isn't in it anymore. It's showing. It shows. It shows when your heart is not in it anymore. When that effort has gone away. Or there's a lack of effort. Your heart might be there, but the work that people put into it is not there. It will show. It will show. It still requires work. It still requires effort. But if your heart is in it, it won't seem like work, right? It won't seem like work. The moment it starts feeling like work, it's because it's unbalanced. It's because it's unbalanced. The moment it starts feeling like work, it's because it's unbalanced. It's unbalanced. So this person was right. It doesn't have to be. It's the perception. It's the perception of it, right? This perception of if your heart is aligned and the mindset of what you want to achieve is aligned with this other person, right? It's not going to feel like work. It's going to come easy. And if you're on the same page, truly on the same page, because then I started thinking, you know, when they interview like older folks who've been married like 80, 90, and they're older, like the older generations, and they're happy, jolly. And then I started thinking, how many are really happy, jolly? How many are just saying that? How many truly mean it? And the fact of the matter is that you can't tell. they're so much older that they're fulfilled. And I don't know if it's just because of the age frame that they're in, or if their perception of the life that they've lived, right, is in such a way that it never felt like work to them because their heart was always in it. And the effort was always there. I wonder. So one of MJ's readings yesterday, I started laughing because it was about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And she said, if you're in a relationship, then this is going to be your other part, your counterpart. But if not, this is within you, right? Because we both have We all have our inner masculine and our inner feminine. And there's this need, right? If you've seen some of Christina Lopez's video on feminine energy, where she talks about the different roles that the masculine energy has versus the feminine energy, right? The feminine energy is the GPS. Masculine energy is charge. Like, tell me what to do, right? And I'll do it. And she was talking about how this new way of doing relationships, the masculine needed to know, well, what is it going to look like? What is this relationship going to look like? And I'm chewing on that last night while I was doing some wood art. And then I even thought to myself, I'm like, well, shoot, I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a plan. I'm just following my heart. And then I realized my heart is my GPS. My mind is the masculine, right? My mind is the planner, the how-to, right? And I'm like, well, the beauty about being creative is that you can create your own reality. You truly can. You can create your own reality. And if you happen to have a counterpart, right, a partner in crime, then you collaborate like you would any project and say, we'll figure it out, right? But there has to be effort, this balanced flow of effort from both parties. And the heart has to be in it, right? Because if one of those is missing, it's bound to get unbalanced, and it's bound to, you know, have holes, and at some point, why stay, right? If your heart's not in it anymore, why stay in it? It's like a job. If your heart isn't in it anymore, then, you know, you give your notice and you walk away. And it should be like that for any relationship, any commitment, right? That if your heart's not in it, then your heart's not in it. Your heart's not in it. Will it be heartbreaking? Yes. Just like how it was for me when I left my job. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. The process was heartbreaking. That day I was like ready to go. But the process was heartbreaking because of the value, right? Because of the commitment and the investment, the effort, the heart that I put into that. But, you know, you go through the motions, you feel the pain, you feel the loss, and you move on. That's just the life cycle for that connection, that commitment. And so this perception of marriage and still being married by the church, I'm like, you know, no, not for me, not my truth. If it's other people's truth, great, but not my truth. You know, if my heart and my mind is not in it because of the imbalance, I don't have to stay. I don't. And that's okay. That's okay. No shame, no judgment. That's okay. I think that's it. That was the theme that I heard, that I had, or that I picked up, at least in the last few days. One of many themes. One of many themes. That was it. Guys, have a good one. Bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.